Hey guys, this is going to be Trig Day 13. So I'm using the same notes that we used for Trig Day 11 because we're going to be taking the information that we learned on Trig Day 11 and Trig Day 12, and we're kind of combining them together. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be taking this information, we're going to be taking this graph, and we're going to be writing an equation. So kind of combining taking the graph and the equation, finding the information, and now we're working backwards, and we're going to actually find the equation. Okay, so for question number 1, okay, and remember your general form is A, and this one is sine. So A sine of bx plus c, right? Where A is our amplitude, B is related to the period, and then C is your midline. Okay, so we already know A should be our easiest value. It's a 2. So I've got 2. I know it's sine, so I've got sine. The only thing I have to do a little work for is this B value in the middle, and then it's a plus 0 at the end because I have 0 for the midline, so I don't need to write that. So remember, our formula for the period is 2 pi divided by B equals the period. So here the period is 2 pi. So 2 pi equals 2 pi divided by B, and I just want to find B. So for this question, we can cross multiply. I've got 2 pi times B equals 2 pi, divide both sides by 2 pi, and then that cancels and that cancels. So remember, anytime something cancels, it's equal to 1. So my B equals 1 here, so it's just 2 sine of x. There's my answer. Okay, so again, the only thing that you really have to do any math for is finding the B value from the period. So we're kind of going opposite of what we did yesterday. I have the period, but I'm trying to find B here. Okay, so for question number 2, we know that this one is cosine. So the only thing different that I'm doing from question 1 is instead of having a sine here, I'm going to have a cosine. So I've got y equals or f of x equals, however you want to write it. So I've got f of x equals, my amplitude is 1, so I don't need to write that. My midline is 0, so I don't have to write that. So the only thing I have to do here is use the period to help me find my B value. So I've got cosine of something x. I have to find that B value there. So I've got pi over 2 equals 2 pi over B. Okay, so I can cross multiply here. I've got B pi equals 4 pi. I divide them both by 4 or by pi, so I get B equals 4 here, because the pi's will cancel out. Okay, so now my B value is 4, and I put that right in front of the x. So this question is just going to be cosine of 4x. Okay, so again, only math is finding the B value. You just have to set the period equal to 2 pi over B, and then just solve. Okay, just like you normally would. For question number 3, we have f of x equals, we know that it's cosine. I know that my amplitude is 1. So I need to find that B value, and then this -1 is just my C, so I've got that. So all I have to figure out is B right now. So I'm gonna do, here's the period, 2 pi equals 2 pi over B. And for this one, we already actually did that. Sometimes it's easy to see like what you would end up with here. Obviously, if this is a 1, it's gonna work out. So again, we can solve it. 2 pi B equals 2 pi, divide both sides by 2 pi, cancel, cancel, B equals 1. So then this, I can put the 1 here. I don't need to put the 1 here. You can just say cosine of x minus 1. Okay. Question number 4, last one. So this one's sine. So I've got f of x equals, my amplitude is 2. So I've got 2 sine, something goes in there with the x, and then I have a plus 1 at the end from my midline here. So now we're just going to solve to find that B value. So I've got 4 pi equals 2 pi over B, cross multiply. 4 pi B equals 2 pi, divide them both by 4 pi. The pi's cancel out. 2 divided by 4, just simplify it, you get 1/2. So I get 1/2 x inside there. So here's my final answer. F of x equals 2 times the sine of 1/2 x plus 1. Okay, so Again, amplitude just goes right in the front. Midline goes right in the back. To find your b value, you're just setting the period equal to 2 pi over b, and then you're solving. So go ahead and check out your homework for trig day 13.